The old farmhouse sat on a sprawling, isolated plot of land outside of Burlington, Vermont. It had been in the Miller family for generations, a sturdy but aging structure with deep roots in the rich, dark soil. When Clara inherited it from her great-aunt, she saw potential, a quiet escape from the city, a place to raise her two young children, 8-year-old Lily and 6-year-old Tom. The faint scent of lavender and old wood that permeated the house seemed comforting at first. They moved in during a crisp October, the trees ablaze with color. The initial days were filled with the joyful chaos of unpacking, the children delighting in the vast yard and the winding creek at the property's edge. Clara felt a peace she hadn't known in years. Then, small things began. It started with the toys. Lily's porcelain doll, Daisy, would often be found in different rooms than where she'd been left. One morning, Clara found Daisy propped up on the kitchen table, facing the door, as if waiting. Lily insisted she hadn't moved it. Tom's wooden blocks, carefully stacked into towers before bed, would sometimes be found scattered across the floor in peculiar patterns. Clara dismissed it as the children playing pranks on each other, or her own forgetfulness. The house was old, after all, things settled, things moved. But the sounds grew more distinct. Footsteps. Soft, rhythmic padding across the floorboards upstairs when everyone was downstairs. The distinct creak of the third stair from the bottom, even when no one was on the staircase. Clara would call out, "Kids, stop running around," only to find them engrossed in cartoons in the living room. One afternoon, while baking in the kitchen, Clara distinctly heard her name whispered. Clara. It was soft, feminine, and seemed to come from just behind her. She spun around, heart thumping, flowers still on her hands. No one. The back door was closed, the windows latched. The children were napping. The house was utterly silent, save for the hum of the refrigerator. Later that week, Lily came to her, her big blue eyes wide with a fear Clara had never seen. "Mommy," she whispered, "Daisy talked to me last night." Clara knelt, trying to soothe her. "What did she say, honey?" Lily looked away, biting her lip. She said she missed her friends." That night, Clara felt a palpable shift in the atmosphere of the house. The comforting scent of lavender was now overlaid with something else, a faint, sickly sweet aroma, like decaying flowers. The air grew colder in certain rooms, particularly the master bedroom and the small, disused pantry off the kitchen. She started seeing things in her peripheral vision. A flicker of movement in the hallway, a shadow detaching itself from the wall, only to vanish when she looked directly at it. One night, she woke to the unmistakable feeling of someone standing over her bed, watching her. Her heart hammered against her ribs, but she was too terrified to open her eyes, feigning sleep until the feeling slowly, agonizingly, receded. Tom, usually boisterous, became quiet and withdrawn. He started talking to an imaginary friend he called Eleanor. Eleanor, he said, lived in the house, wore an old white dress, and liked to play hide-and-seek. But Eleanor wasn't always nice. Sometimes, Tom would emerge from his room looking tear-streaked and frightened, saying Eleanor had told him off for being too loud, or that she didn't like his new toy. Clara tried to dismiss it, but the unsettling details mounted. Tom described Eleanor's dress, a high collar, lace cuffs, exactly matching a faded photograph of a young woman, a distant Miller ancestor, she found in the attic, dating back to the late 1800s. The woman in the photo had a stern, almost mournful expression. One evening, Clara was putting laundry away in the master bedroom closet when she heard a child's mournful crying. It wasn't Lily or Tom. It was closer, almost muffled, coming from inside the closet itself. She froze, every muscle screaming at her to run. The crying continued, a soft, heartbroken sound, like a child utterly alone. Slowly, heart-pounding, Clara reached out and pulled open an old wooden chest at the bottom of the closet, a relic she hadn't touched since moving in. Inside, nestled amongst moth-eaten linens, was a tiny, yellowed baby shoe. As her fingers brushed against it, the crying stopped abruptly. A wave of profound, suffocating grief washed over her, making her gasp for air, her own eyes suddenly stinging with inexplicable tears. That night, a full-blown poltergeist activity erupted. Pictures crashed from walls. Doors slammed violently. The antique chandelier in the dining room swung wildly, casting eerie, dancing shadows. Lily and Tom woke up screaming, convinced Eleanor was mad. Clara, terrified but determined to protect her children, grabbed them and huddled in the living room, whispering reassurances as unseen forces wreaked havoc around them. The scent of decaying flowers was overwhelming now, choking her. Then, from the kitchen, came a shattering sound, the old ceramic stove, she realized, its door having just flown open and slammed shut. And from within the kitchen, the soft, feminine whisper came again, louder now, colder, filled with an ancient despair, "You took my children." Clara felt a freezing presence beside her, a spectral chill that made her teeth chatter. She couldn't see anything, but she felt a heavy, sorrowful gaze fixed upon her. It was not malevolent, not hateful, but imbued with an unbearable, eternal grief. And then, she understood. The ghost wasn't angry at her. It was trapped in its grief, endlessly reliving its loss, and perhaps, in its madness, mistaking Clara and her children for those it had lost so long ago. The lavender scent, the decaying flowers, the small sheep, it was all tied to a tragedy, a mother's inconsolable pain. Clara, trembling but firm, looked into the unseen presence beside her. "I'm not them," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I'm not the one who took your children. I'm just living here. And I have my own children to protect." The cold presence wavered. The whispers in her mind, a cacophony of sorrow and confusion, seemed to lessen. The slamming doors stopped. The chandelier slowly stilled. The house, after what felt like an eternity, grew quiet. The scent of decaying flowers began to recede, replaced by a faint, almost imperceptible hint of lavender once more. The next morning, the house was eerily calm. The fallen pictures, the shattered stove door, were stark reminders of the night's terror. Clara knew then that she couldn't stay. The presence, while not malevolent, was too profoundly sad, too consumed by its own ancient sorrow. It would never truly leave. She packed quickly, explaining to Lily and Tom that the old house just wasn't right for them. As they drove away, Clara glanced back at the old farmhouse, its windows like vacant eyes staring out at the new day. She thought she saw a faint, white shape in one of the upstairs windows, watching them leave. It wasn't a threat, she realized. It was just a profound, eternal loneliness. The Miller farmhouse sits empty once more, waiting. And sometimes, if you listen closely on a still October night, a faint, feminine whisper can be heard, carried on the wind, forever echoing with the unbearable grief of a mother's lost children.